Youngsters need to take care of the basketball.
Yeah, 19 turnovers in their ACC opener against Miami. Louisville, on the other hand, as well, looking to bounce back from the loss you referenced against Kentucky. It's an old Big East matchup to kick off ACC play for the Cardinals in Louisville tonight. Cardinals with it. Quentin Snyder, the three-year captain, gets it right down to the post. That's where Ray Spalding lives. Pittsburgh basketball. That's a considerably older lineup that you see for Louisville compared to Pittsburgh.
Well, when you're starting 5 freshmen, there's not much younger you can get than that right there. But we're seeing Louisville right now, Kevin. This is a big factor in this game. Can they pressure and turn over a young Pittsburgh team?
One of the better teams in the ACC at forcing turnovers, about 14 a game. That's up there. Good look on the baseline for Shamil Stevenson. He is the freshman that gets the nod today over Jared Wilson-Frame.
Now, Louisville, advantage on the interior. We saw the first possession. They went inside with the basketball.
Snyder has been shooting the basketball much better of late for the Cardinals. 15 a game, his last 7. The freshman lineup, right out of the gates, what are you looking for Pittsburgh?
Well, I think offensively they got to take care of the basketball, Kevin. And secondly, they don't have guys that can create for themselves off the dribble. Their offense and their offensive patterns have to create shot opportunities for them. There's not a great guy that's going to break you down off the dribble.
You take away Ryan Luther as well. Averaging a double-double. He's been out now for 5 games.
And you mentioned Luther. One of the things he brought to this program was rebounding, because Pittsburgh right now sitting in last in the ACC in rebound differential. And he was a guy that stretched the defense. He was a big guy that could pick and pop and shoot threes, and that created better spacing for Pittsburgh on the offensive end of the floor.
Good pass down low. There's Malik Williams. Well, Kevin Stallings is his second-year head coach now at Pitt. He mentioned to us before the game, yeah, the points, the rebounds, but he was such a good passer. And he opened up a lot of options, Luther, for his teammates.
He really did. He created, just being on the floor, a lot of opportunities for other guys.
Marcus Carr might be the most talented freshman among the bunch for Pittsburgh. Snyder to Williams.
Well, you're seeing a young Pittsburgh team, and that's what Kevin Stallings likes about these guys. First to the floor, picking up those 50-50 balls. If they want to win on the road, that's a big aspect of this game for them.
There's Stevenson again. He's the freshman from Toronto, Ontario, starting his 8th game.
And we're looking at a Pittsburgh team on the road, 3 for 3 from the field early in this one.
Williams taking plenty of shots early on. He's the freshman for Louisville.
Well, if Louisville wants to turn Pittsburgh over, to press, they need to score, and that's what we're seeing right now. If Pitt gets stops defensively, they won't have to face that pressure the entire 40-minute game.
Pittsburgh opened up ACC play against Miami, a loss. Ran out of steam late in that one. 2 seconds to shoot. Carr has to let it fly from way outside. That's the first miss for Pitt this evening. Just started in Louisville. These two teams have met twice each of the last couple seasons. It's been a while since Pitt has taken down Louisville. Boy, it is tough to stop the Cardinals. They get that close to the basket on the offensive side.
Well, that's the biggest advantage they have. And now, this is problem. Pittsburgh live ball turnovers.
That's Adele. Crisis averted. Another turnover. VJ King.
That's what Kevin Stallings told us today that he was fearful of. Live ball turnovers that lead to runouts, and because of those turnovers, we're seeing Louisville on a 6-0 run right now.
Well, it's the turnovers and the blocks as well. Louisville will push in transition as often as it can. This is Carr taking it to the rim. That one falls through.
And I am impressed with Pittsburgh, how they're getting into the lane against the Louisville Cardinals early in this basketball game.
Fearless early on. Snyder is great at that. He's at the line when we come back. Inside the KFC Yum Center. This is the ACC opener for the Cardinals. Pittsburgh trying to bounce back after a loss to Miami over the weekend. Kevin Stallings' team, one of the youngest in the country. In fact, only Duke and Kentucky play their freshmen in terms of minutes. More so than Pittsburgh. Now, you see those two teams at the top. You don't normally see the Panthers in that category.
Well, you're seeing a very young Pittsburgh Panther basketball team, but a little different than the freshmen that Pitt has and the freshmen that Duke has. Duke has a lot of those guys that are like they're called one and done. But the good thing about it, Kevin Stallings is really excited about these young guys. This is the foundation for the future of Pitt basketball. These guys will be 3- and 4-year college players, which will help Pittsburgh get to the NCAA tournament down the road in the future, and a good foundation to build around.
We asked him, who is the most coachable? He really couldn't answer it. He said, I couldn't pick one. They all have been excellent to work with. They're all hungry for direction and guidance.
Kevin, I'm telling you, when you have good young guys that enjoy coming to practice, as a coach, you enjoy walking on the practice floor. You look forward to it every day. It's not like pulling teeth. And Kevin, you can just tell in his voice, Kevin Stallings loves these young Pittsburgh players.
Into contact, Malik Williams has been all over the place. And early on, Louisville with all its points inside the paint, Tito.
Well, we're seeing the loss of Ryan Luther right now because he's one of the better rebounders in the country. And you're seeing Louisville take advantage of a young Pittsburgh team inside on the backboard.
Luther, one of 2 players returning from the rotation a year ago, and he has now been absent for 5 games. A stress fracture. You saw the boot earlier on his right foot. That's the first foul on Darius Perry.
And as you're watching this game, watch Louisville's defense as Pittsburgh runs dribble handoffs and ball screens. The team in white is switching all of that action. So keep an eye on that. They have mobile guys that can switch handoffs, ball screens, regardless of size.
You just look at the body types for Louisville. They are long, they are rangy. They can afford to do that switch.
They are long and lean for sure.
Anis Mahmoud is off the floor. He's the 7-foot center. You highlighted him right off the top. Excellent shot blocker. Stewart hit a 3 earlier, not this time.
I really love the contest by Darius Perry. Really high. Did a great job of contesting the shot.
Kenna Chukwuka with the first foul this evening. The 3rd whistled against Pittsburgh. We mentioned Perry's name, Williams as well for the Cardinals. We're showing the love for the Pittsburgh freshman. That's a nice freshman duo for David Padgett. King absorbs the contact, rebound to Stewart.
Boy, that one was halfway down. DJ King, a big, strong guard at 6'6", 190.
Stevenson already with a pair of baskets late in the shot clock. No basket. There's a whistle before the shot Pittsburgh is attacking right now. They're going right at the rim.
They really are. I am impressed early in this game how the basketball for Pitt is getting into the paint. They're doing a lot of it off of the dribble drive. And Mahmoud comes back in the game.
He's been battling a little bit of a stomach bug entering tonight's game, so he may be in and out of this one on the bench, back and forth.
I like it. He and I both playing a little bit hurt today. I got that same bug I'm fighting a little bit. I'm sitting next to you.
I gave the Kleenex box back to you, so you can't blame me.
Boy, this kid, I really like Hanas Mahmoud. This is a guy you got to remember that coming up, he was one of those guys that was a 6'1" guard.
Right.
And that's why he has such a wonderful skill set, moves so well as he jumped up to 7 foot.
He doesn't start work on his post moves until he essentially gets to college, which shows the quick progression that was necessary as he's now in his senior year.
And Kevin, it also tells us how much more room for growth there is with this young guy as well.
So 3 turnovers on either side. That was the problem for Pittsburgh in the loss to Miami. 19 times Panthers turned it over. And they've struggled with taking care of the basketball at times.
Well, they were right there. Right before half, Miami went on a big run that sort of got separation and was the difference in that game on Saturday.
It's a ranked Miami team. Now right around the rim, Carr can't get the little floater to fall. And count the bucket. Deng Adele, the junior. He leads his team in scoring. He's on the board at the line.
Well, this is their most talented player. Terrific crossover and wonderful elevation on the play. Deng Adele, their most talented player. This guy is a next level player. Does everything. Can score it, can pass it, block shots, steals. Sort of followed the path of Mathieu, born in Sudan, Africa, moved to Australia as a child. Deng Adele.
Every part of his game has improved. He's shooting the basketball better. He's close to 50% from the field. His offensive game, it's improved.
And Kevin, one of the things with the press, as we're seeing the press right now out of Louisville, is you don't have to steal the ball every time, but as the game goes on, it wears down teams.
This is Jared Wilson frame. Started all 14 games until today and turns it over. Pittsburgh hasn't scored in 3 minutes. Louisville ahead. Welcome to Super Tuesday, presented by Boost Mobile. This is the ACC on ESPN. Inside the KFC Yum Center, the Louisville Cardinals hosting Pittsburgh, opening up ACC play against the Panthers, and with a 4-point lead. Dino Gaudio is here. I'm Kevin Fitzgerald, so thank you for joining us after Tennessee and Auburn just finished up. Dino, everybody's attacking the paint early on.
They really are, and it's a young freshman group from Pittsburgh. Started 5 freshmen for the first time in school history. They've done a wonderful job getting it into the lane, and we're seeing Louisville creating points off turnovers, and they too, Kevin, scoring the ball. Deng Adele, terrific crossover. They too scoring the ball in the lane.
20 of the 28 points scored, you can see in the paint. How about this one? We were talking to Kevin Stallings. We asked the longtime head coach, have you ever been in a situation like this, having such a young team? Yeah, look at that. I don't think so. For the first time in Pittsburgh's program history, starting 5 freshmen. It doesn't get any younger than that.
And he had one of the veteran teams last year in Pittsburgh that he inherited. But this is a young team. But when we talked to him today, he's excited about these young guys. He thinks these guys could be the foundation of Pittsburgh, rebuilding, getting where they need to go. Because these aren't one-and-done freshmen, Kevin. These are guys that will hopefully be in the program 3 and 4 years.
7 freshmen. Remember, 4 players graduated from last year's team. 5 transferred. 1 was dismissed. It is an entirely new slate. Pittsburgh off to an 8-6 start. How about Ryan McMahon? He is known as the shooter. A nice drive.
Well, once again, a big concern for Pittsburgh is can they contend with Louisville on the board, especially on the offensive glass, because Louisville will just pound you on the offense. Sometimes their best offense is the missed shot. They go and get it and put it back in.
Jonathan Milligan. That was halfway in and out.
Pretty good transition defense by Pittsburgh.
How important is that today?
It's huge because this is a Louisville team that gets out and runs really well.
Just to paint the picture even further, no pun intended, 11 of the first 13 made shots have come inside the paint. Here's another look. And the shot blocked by Mahmoud. 3rd in the nation blocks per game. Adele.
And that's Louisville basketball right there. This is the 2nd best shot blocking team in the country. The block leads to the run out and a basket on the other end. Louisville now with their defense on a 9-0 run.
Little chaos. Wilson frame, no.
And Kevin, this was a concern of Coach Stallings. Sometimes they go into shooting walls where they have good looks, just aren't able to knock shots down. Well, you might need a timeout right here.
There it is.
There it is.
12-0 run for Louisville after McMahon's triple. Interim head coach David Padgett has watched his Cardinals extend out to an 11-point lead. Just a little past the midway mark of the first half. And it was late September when he was named the interim head coach. Just a few days after the FBI investigation into college basketball became public. How about that? Taking over a program with a month to go before the season starts.
And Kevin, a really difficult situation for him. Taking over for a Hall of Fame coach. And nearly the first 2 weeks of the season, he was coaching the team by himself. He hadn't put a staff together yet. It was Coach Padgett and a manager were coaching the team.
Now, he's familiar with this program. He played here after spending his first year at Kansas, transferred, and he has been on the staff for 3 years. Played for Rick Pitino, coached with Rick Pitino. You know, the first hire was Trent Johnson, longtime head coach. He was telling us Trent gave him a great piece of advice. There is no blueprint here. Stop looking for a blueprint. There has never been the occasion where a Hall of Fame head coach is dismissed a month before a season and a first-year 32-year-old head coach has to take over. So you have to do it on your own.
And I'll tell you what, Trent Johnson, 36 years of coaching experience. Nevada, Stanford, LSU, TCU. He has been a great resource for David Padgett. There's Trent Johnson right there. And then on Trent's left, our right, of course, is the young man, Greg Paulus, who played for Mike Krzyzewski at Duke. But tough putting that staff together late like that.
R.J. Evans filled out the coaching staff, who was hired as just a graduate assistant and then was bumped to a full-time assistant role. This Louisville coaching staff, it crumbled a few weeks before the start of the season. And you're right, Padgett had to put it together. McMahon has hit 2 triples It seems like every shot he takes is from beyond the arc, and he's hit 2 already early.
Well, listen, he comes into the game, 28 of his 33 shots have been threes. Kevin Stallings is not happy because, listen, that's a scouting report play. You know McMahon's a three-point shooter. Run him off the three-point line. Make him a dribbler.
It's been about 7 minutes now since Pittsburgh hit a shot. Second block for Mahmoud. That was easy. Snyder really good in transition, and the foul called on Carr. Louisville continues its run, 15-0.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile and in part by the DQA1 Bacon Cheeseburger $5 lunch at participating locations.
Louisville on a 15-0 run in the first half at the KFC Yum Center. This is the Cardinals' ACC opener. Pittsburgh lost to Miami a few days ago, already 0-1. Louisville, they win this first game pretty often. They've won 7 of the last 9 ACC openers. There's Quentin Snyder. He's experienced a few of those. He's the senior and the 3-year captain.
And how good has he been over the last 7 games? Quinn Snyder, 14.7 points. He's shooting 12 for 24 from behind the three-point line. And I love this out of a point guard. 27 assists, only 7 turnovers. He has been a difference maker for this Louisville team.
Remember, we were talking to Coach Padgett and then one of his assistants, the former guard at Duke, Greg Paulus. What's his best attribute as a point guard? Just his even keel, steady nature.
And I love point guards that take care of the basketball. And he does that.
Who does he remind you of?
You know what? I think he's a big, strong guard. When not big in size, but what I think he is a strong-looking guard. You know, at 6'2", 180. And what I really like about him is his vision and how he takes care of the basketball. I coached a really good guard in Jeff Teague. Now, Jeff scored the ball more than Snyder does, but same body type for me. See, Kevin, when Pittsburgh's struggling to score right now, they just don't have a guy that could just break you down one-on-one. So they got to create their buckets off of their offense. In other words, the pattern that they're running, screening guys like the down screen right there, that creates the opportunity for Stewart with the shot.
Parker Stewart, one of the 7 freshmen brought in this year, excellent from beyond the arc. The first points for Pittsburgh in 8 minutes.
And it came off their offense.
Spalding, 6'10", camping out on the block.
Well, sometimes your best post defender is the guy on the passer. There has to be more pressure on the pass. But I love feeding the post from the top like Louisville did right there.
And it goes both ways, like you said.
See, there's no pressure. There's no pressure on Quentin Snyder right there. You just can't let guys window shop. You got to put pressure on the passer, just like a quarterback in football. Now, once again, Pittsburgh has to remember how they manufacture points. It's by screening, creating opportunities for your teammates when you don't have the ball.
Screen set for Jared Wilson frame.
Boy, see, Louisville just switches all of that action.
David Padgett almost got in on that defensive possession. That is a strong stand.
I think he was. I think he was on the defensive possession.
That is just out of Ray Spalding's 7'6" wingspan.
Michael Stevens technical on both of the players.
I think that's a double technical. You're right.
And Michael Stevens with the call.
Michael Stevens, Jeff Clark, and Bill Covington are officiating crew. Kenna Chukwuka. And Spalding as well. So he's is getting Stewart out of the way.
Wow, that's a quick whistle there, I think. I didn't see much there. I mean, Stewart just was boxing him and then just walked away. A lot of times you see guys talking, but I didn't. I hated when guys had mouth mistakes, but I didn't see it there.
So it's Stewart and Spalding, the technicals, not Chukwuka.
Look how Louisville is pushing Pittsburgh out on the floor.
Another turnover. This starts the break. Adele. And even when they slow it down, it just causes the defense to fall out of all sorts.
You really see Pittsburgh on their heels, especially on the defensive end of the floor. Now, once again, there's a switch, and there's Mahmoud, the 7-footer, on a guard.
Back-to-back turnovers. Maybe a 3-on-2. Snyder, and the foul. Adele is at the line.
Well, that's Louisville basketball in a nutshell right there. Defense, creating offense, the run out. And I tell you, Kevin, it all starts with how they're able to switch. There's the steal, the run out, and what a nice delivery from Quentin Snyder. When guys give up the ball willingly, man, other guys are just, they want to run, they will run, and that's what Dang Adele did.
8 Pittsburgh turnovers in the first half. Couple blocks as well that have led to those breakouts.
Kevin, when we play teams that switch like we're seeing Louisville do right now, I like to drive the big guy. But the thing with Adele is when you drive him, you can even get by him and you have him beat. He can block the shot from behind because he's so mobile. And right now, Pittsburgh has not been able to take advantage of Louisville switching defensively.
So when you do blow by the defender and you have the long presence looming, you have some shooters ready then.
You think you have him beat, and he is in fact behind you, but he can still get a piece of the ball with the block shot.
Pittsburgh came out very aggressive. It was neck and neck the first 5 minutes or so. Louisville went on a 15-0 run. This lead continues to grow. Snyder, and it's an 18-point advantage.
And that's a wonderful read from Snyder. He came off the down screen. The defense shortcut the screen, so he faded, which enabled it to give him space for the shot.
Boy, Pittsburgh has never won in this building. And down early, largest deficit. Was it a block? Is it a foul? Mahmoud with the thumbs up.
Now once again,
almost his third block.
Once again, he's beat. Watch, the offense is by him. He still gets a piece of that thing. Whew.
It's been a while since Pittsburgh defeated Louisville. It's so long, these teams were in a different conference the last time it happened, January 16th of 2010. Samardo Samuels had a great day for Louisville, but Nasir Robinson was just too much for the Cardinals at the Pete. He went for 26. Pittsburgh wins a high-scoring game when these two were battling in the Big East. It's been a while since Pittsburgh has defeated Louisville. That's 8 years ago.
It has, and it had a close game last year, one of them in the Yum Center, 85-80, where Jamel Artis went off for 43 points, and then Kevin, I did the Louisville game at Pitt. Whew. Louisville 106-51. That was a beatdown for sure last year in the Peterson Athletic Center.
Pittsburgh 0-10 in its last 10 tries against Louisville. You know, those are really well-coached, tough Jamie Dixon teams up until last season when Kevin Stallings took over. Pittsburgh hasn't taken as many threes as maybe we would have expected at this point. Chukwuka misses that one.
Well, they talked about, David Padgett talked about, one of the things he wanted to do was run Pittsburgh off the three-point line. And they're doing a really good job of that.
Just 3 of 11 from beyond the arc for the Panthers. You know, we talk about Ryan Luther being out.
See,
remember, they take so many threes now with him out with the injury.
Well, see, that was a great look right there by Milligan. It was a wide open shot that he just has to make.
Not long ago, Pittsburgh took 35 threes against Delaware State.
Well, and Kevin Stallings knows this. To be good on offense, you need an inside game and a screening game. And right now, without Luther, they're lacking an inside game.
Finally got one to roll. And timeout taken. Shamil Stevenson off to a good start.
Well, when you're laboring to score, you got to get easy baskets. One way to get easy baskets is with the fast break. The second way, as we saw right there, is with a second shot opportunity.
So, you know, it's a great time of year. We're into ACC play. How about this doubleheader for you on Saturday? Top 15 matchup, North Carolina and Virginia. That's in Charlottesville, and then on Tobacco Road in Raleigh. Number 2, Duke, NC State. That game at 8 p.m. Eastern. Both games streaming live on the ESPN app. Marvin Bagley III.
Hey, Kevin, Marvin Bagley leads the ACC in scoring, rebounding, double-doubles, and how about this? The first freshman in ACC history to have a 30-point, 20-rebound game. And, man, has he been impressive. What's scary is he could be and maybe should be a high school senior right now, Marvin Bagley, if he didn't reclassify him. I saw Virginia in preseason, and I wasn't sure how good Virginia was going to be. I told Tony, a little bit of a rebuild. I am shocked how well Virginia's doing, and that's just a compliment to Tony Bennett and his coaching staff. He has done a terrific job. And Ty Jerome, a terrific game against BC, and at one point win the other day. Ty Jerome with 31 points. But Virginia, Carolina split last year, both winning at home.
So a quick official review. And Kevin Stallings
talking with Jeff Clark right there, the official.
Trying to confirm what's going to change. 2:02 left in the first. Louisville at one point went on a 23-4 run. Up by 14. Pittsburgh trying to hang around. Oh, nothing changes. So here we go.
Now, if you're Pittsburgh, you're just trying to find a way to get this thing to 10 by halftime.
But the rejection on this side. Chukwuka brings excellent energy to the floor. The sophomore from Stockholm, Sweden.
And that's what this kid has. He has wonderful length. He's an outstanding leaper and can be a good shot blocker, as we saw right there.
He went from secondary school in Stockholm to a junior college in New Mexico to the ACC in 2 years.
I'll tell you what, he looked good right there.
He's got to deal with Mahmoud. Anis Mahmoud, his first basket, couple blocks. Is he an NBA player next year?
I think he is, and I think he is. Now, the NBA game has gotten smaller, as we know. But this is a guy that can really move his feet well for a guy with size. Big, lumbering, big guys. I'm not sure where their place is in the league right now, Kevin, but this guy right here, because of how well he moves, Anis Mahmoud, I think there's a place for him at the next level.
You rewind 3.5 years ago, he wasn't playing much as a freshman.
No.
And you got to credit his work ethic and what he has done to his offensive game as well the last 3.5 years.
Absolutely. I had the big kid Taco Fall in a game on Sunday, the 7'6" kid. And I wonder if he could play at the next level, only because he doesn't move as well as this kid right here.
Active hands again. It's 9 turnovers that Louisville has forced. Adele at the line. Less than a minute to go until halftime.
See, Kevin, this Euro step is a great move because it gets you around the defender. And that's a move you have to put in your offensive repertoire if you want to have a game to get to the basket, and Deng Adele has done that.
The junior, part of a really good 2015 class. He was on the All-ACC preseason team, and it's on a nightly basis. He's going to score in double figures. So you say Pittsburgh, only a couple possessions left. You got to get it back to what, 10, 12 here?
With about 2 minutes to go, I think you were hoping for that. That's not obviously going to take place right now, but at the 2-minute mark, that's what Kevin was hoping to do. But he just wants to finish the half strong without turning the basketball over. 9 so far in the first half for the Panthers.
And Louisville hitting its shots, 53% from the field. Wilson frames shot, no go.
Now, Louisville get the last shot of the half. You want to take it with around 5 or 6 so that if you miss the shot, you have a second shot opportunity. And I love the ball in this kid's hands right here, Quentin Snyder. Oh boy, I'm a big fan of his.
Five left. Snyder. 11 points for Quentin Snyder. Hit both of his triples. Louisville. 20 minutes in the books. Halfway there to beginning 1-0 in ACC play. Not just the 3, but inside Louisville, all over Pittsburgh.
Well, that's a well-coached team right there. They know they have the advantage on the interior. That's where they've gone. And you know what? It's reaping benefits for the Louisville Cardinals, up 41-23 at the half.
Plenty to get to. The halftime report coming up. Take a look at Snyder's feet. Yeah, the right toe, that is as close as it gets. If it's on that black line, that's a 2 and not the 3. I think you saw Stallings in the corner of the screen. He might have been on it from the...
Yeah, it looks like his right foot's definitely on the line.
Yeah. Really close. Right now it's an 18-point lead for Louisville. If it's a long 2, you just subtract 1 and we go to the break. Well, Karl Ravitch and Seth Greenberg, they are standing by in the studio. Plenty to get to for the halftime report, including an update on Bonzi Colson, the All-American for the Irish. Suffered a broken foot earlier practice today. Welcome back to Super Tuesday, presented by Boost Mobile. This is the ACC on ESPN. The Cardinals with an 18-point lead after 20 minutes, looking to start 1-0 in ACC play. The defense scorching in the first half.
One of Kevin Stallings' concerns was turning the basketball. Louisville now has 9 points off Pittsburgh turnovers. Terrific ball screen at the end of the half right there for the 3 from Snyder. And then there's the big fella right now. That's Louisville basketball. Blocking shots, which leads to runouts on the other end. And what you love about Louisville as well is they're scoring the basketball in the paint. Louisville has 24 points in the paint. Pittsburgh has 23 points for the game.
Statistician John Tobias was all over that. With Dino Gaudio, Kevin Fitzgerald. And Pittsburgh aggressive to start. It was close early. The shots stopped falling. You saw those blocks. For the Panthers, you were asking this question. Where's the go-to option? A unit that features 5 freshmen.
Well, I think it has to be Marcus Carr. He's the guy that ignites this team right there. And Cameron Davis with a big basket for Pittsburgh. But Kevin, we talked about it in the first half. Pittsburgh generates points not off an individual player breaking guys down, but within the system of their offense and their patterns.
The Panthers 8-6, and those losses to some pretty tough teams. Miami, one ACC game already in the books. Oklahoma State, Penn State. A couple of quick buckets. One for Marcus Carr, who you pointed out.
You talk about trying to get this thing to 10 and get your confidence up a little bit. And that's really good ball screen defense right there.
Now, you've been saying that on the Louisville side, and it's Pittsburgh. And covers it well.
I'll tell you, as I watch film of this Pitt team, I'm encouraged. I know this doesn't look like an NCAA tournament team, which it's not this year. But I'll tell you what, Kevin Stallings and his staff have put together a good group of core freshmen. That ball can roll all the way over the top of the backboard. It's still in bounds.
Walking the tightrope. That would have been Snyder's third triple. We asked Kevin Stallings, what are you doing differently with a rotation that features 7 freshmen? And he paused for a moment and said, I've just been more encouraging. I think I have to be.
I think you do. You have to be more positive with a young team. And we're seeing one of the youngest teams in the country in terms of minutes played right now. The only difference between Pittsburgh and those other 2 teams up there, those other 2 teams up there got those one-and-done guys. Pitt doesn't have those guys when you're talking about freshman minutes.
Yeah, look for some of those names on the big board in June. About a decade ago, you're coaching in this league, and you had a very similar situation. You had a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomore, like Kevin Stallings has this year. I mean, what do you do in that situation?
Well, you have to understand who could take the hard coaching. In other words, which guys you can ride a little bit harder than others. Yeah, my first year at Wake Forest, 07-08, we started 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a junior. Now, the good thing about it was, again, talented guys. Jeff Teague, James Johnson, Al Farouk Aminu, all guys playing in the NBA right now, Kevin. Kevin, we would say in this league right here, the team with the most future pros usually wins the league. So you got to recruit a high level of player to compete in this conference, because you know what? Everybody else is getting really good guys.
7-man freshman class for Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, the Panthers have just got us on a 7-0 run. You saw Kenna Chukwuka a moment ago take that charge. I love his game. He is a sophomore who transferred from New Mexico Junior College. Taking charges, aggressive defense. Maybe not the best scorer, but he's affecting the game in a variety of different ways. That's a traveling violation. The ball back to Louisville.
Well, one of the things Carr will learn is when you're in that trap, you got to be boss with the ball. Chin it, take the ball strong. He drug his pivot foot right there. And Billy Covington made the call.
Carr, 4-star recruit, one of the top players out of Canada in 2017. And so the turnover to a whistle and a couple free throws for the Cardinals. Very good team at the line, 76% from the stripe. It's a 3rd foul, though, on Chukwuka.
Now this kid right here, Dwayne Sutton, came out of UNC Asheville in the Big South Conference as a freshman. He was the MVP of the Big South Conference tournament. In the championship game, 25 points, 18 rebounds for Dwayne Sutton. I think this guy has a long and bright future at Louisville.
David Padgett has plenty of long, rangy, versatile options off the bench. And he's from Louisville, too. Comes home, played at Manual High School. Fans in Louisville, they love their basketball, passionate about the Cardinals, especially the hometown players. 6 on the shot clock. Carr creating. Look, the head fake with Mahmoud right there.
You know what? Mahmoud didn't block the shot, but you know what? He changed it.
And he sticks that one back. Doesn't have to score a whole bunch to affect the game. 4 boards. Now, he may tell you, I should have 3 blocks tonight. Only has 2. One was changed from a block to a basket interference.
Yeah, to a goaltending call.
There's the defensive pressure again. And we were talking about it not long ago, but it's worth bringing back up. You see him at the next level next year in the NBA, Mahmoud.
Well, what you're looking at Mahmoud right here. Look how he drives his guy under the basket. That's really good offense right there. Like, talk about boxing out on defense. You can box out on offense too, and Mahmoud did. He just pushed his guy right under the basket.
From Cairo, Egypt. Came over for his senior year of high school. You mentioned earlier, was a guard in high school until he sprouted up to 7 feet.
And we have from Egypt, Ala Abdul Nabi, who played at Duke, playing in the NBA. Abdul Nader, who's with the Celtics right now. So I think he might be able to be the 3rd Egyptian to play in the NBA.
Pittsburgh was down 18 at the break. Back to a 14-point game.
Boy, that turnover when they trapped down here. Pittsburgh had the ball, with a chance to cut it to 9. Whenever they had the walk on Marcus Carr in a trap.
Panthers trying to cut into this deficit. Louisville picked preseason number 5, according to the media in the ACC. Looking to start 1-0 in ACC play, up 14 over Pittsburgh. Dino Gaudio here with me, Kevin Fitzgerald. Thanks for joining us tonight. So right now, we're bringing up bracketology. Joe Lunardi has 9 teams out of the ACC in the tournament field, Louisville being the last, slotted as a 10 seed. Okay, so one team you don't see there, Dino? Clemson?
Yes. I think
that's 25 team. They're in the tournament field right now.
We're looking at the preseason poll where they only threw 12 teams in there. But I think Clemson is having a terrific season. And the difference is, Kevin, is their guard play. That's the difference between this Clemson team and teams of the past. Really good guards.
Reed, DeVoe, plenty others. Yeah. Who stands out to you?
Shelton Mitchell, the point guard, has done a terrific job. A transfer from Vanderbilt. Kevin Stallings recruited Shelton Mitchell and played for the CP3 AAU team. But you're looking at a Vanderbilt team that starts 3 transfers: Shelton Mitchell, Reed, and Elijah Thomas from Texas A&M. Reed, of course, played at Robert Morris. But I tell you, the ACC surprises for me have been Virginia. When I watched Tony's team practice, Tony Bennett's team practice in the preseason, I was like, man, Tony, looks like a little bit of a rebuild for you. But not in Clemson, of course. And I tell you, Florida State, what a great job Leonard Hamilton has done at Florida State with that team.
Tonight, the only ACC game on, but tomorrow, 6 more, including North Carolina, Florida State. That's a top 25 matchup. That's on ESPN2 tomorrow at 7. Carl Ravitch and Dickie V will be there.
And one of the most improved players, not just in the ACC, but maybe in the country, is Kofor for Florida State. He has had a terrific early season. Billy Covington, the official, straightening things out on us, making sure the table knows who the foul is on.
And it stays on Marcus Carr, his 3rd. Did you see Degadell block that shot a couple minutes ago? And then the head fake over here, he has 10.
Well, you know what? That was an old man move against one of them youngsters. You know what I mean? Little back end, post up, and then it step through.
Play pickup ball with our colleague Adrian Branch. Was that one of his moves down to the baseline, right?
I'll tell you what, we played Sunday night AAU. We played Sunday night with Adrian one time, and AB thought it was the last cut for the Lakers in the NBA. I had to pull him in. I go, AB, listen, everybody's got to go to work tomorrow. Ease up a little bit.
Mahmoud, 6 points, 5 boards, and 2 blocks as well. Pittsburgh had it back to 11 earlier in the half. The deficit back to 16.
Yeah, they had the ball, Kevin, with a chance to cut it under 10.
Remember, Pittsburgh, for the first time in program history, started 5 freshmen today. 2 to shoot. Wilson Frame has to let it fly.
And you're seeing a young team right there, unaware where the shot clock is. And great step through from Dangadell. And I'll tell you what, nothing hurts your defense more than when the ball gets in the lane, because it lifts, help defenders up, which created that little bounce pass from Dang to Mahmoud.
Look at that differential, points in the paint. That's a nice steal. Cameron Davis.
It was a nice steal, but Mahmoud will learn that he had a bad angle with which to make that pass.
Davis, the beneficiary after his own steal.
Yeah, Mahmoud, to make that pass, it can't be that straight line. He's got to create a little bit better of an angle. Maybe one dribble to his right to complete the pass, because you're not throwing that pass to the offense, you're throwing it away from the defender.
It's one of the rare mistakes tonight for Louisville. There really has not been a long stretch that David Padgett would be upset with. This has been a clean game. His team is bouncing back after falling to Kentucky. They didn't just fall to Kentucky. They got beat up. Snyder didn't shoot well a couple nights ago against the Wildcats. Today with 13 points on 5 of 10 shooting.
Yeah, you can't be a lazy thinker on the road. In other words, you just can't make that pass, say, hey, this is what we do in practice 5-on-0. There's other guys in different jerseys out there. Don't be a lazy thinker.
12:32 left. A lot of time for Pittsburgh to try to sharpen up, create a run. Probably had to convert with a shot like that close to the rim. Snyder on the reverse.
Boy, he is a strong and explosive player. And you know what I like about the move, Kevin? He takes that shot off 2 feet. In other words, he's not jumping off of 1 foot. And when you shoot off 2 feet, you're a little bit stronger, you have better balance, and you can absorb contact if you're hit. Veteran play by a veteran guard.
That's the reason why he's a 3-year captain. Emulating the style of his head coach, David Padgett, who was a captain his final year at Louisville. It's a whistle on Sutton. There's the aggression you were talking about.
I really like Dwayne Sutton. Like you mentioned, the Louisville native, was the MVP of the Big South Conference when he was at UNC Asheville. He's really a good player. You know what? I think you know what the foul was. I think he had his right hand on the backside of the offensive player. Get your arm out from around the offensive guy.
Carr high off the glass.
High off the glass is right because Mahmoud was standing right there.
Sutton heading to the line. Louisville led by 18 at the break. Still leading by 17. Looking to start ACC play 1-0. Louisville in control. Quentin Snyder maybe having one of his best games of the season.
Well, Kevin, he's showing you the entire package. The hesitation to the layup, the 3 off the pass from Mahmoud. This is right before the end of the half, the pull-up 3 in anticipation on defense. And I'll tell you, the other thing I love about the kid, and said this earlier, there's playing off of 2 feet. But in this one thus far, 4 assists, no turnovers from your point guard. Man, that speaks volumes of having a good basketball game. Yeah, when your point guard plays well, you play well.
He's been playing well for 3 years.
Yeah. And coming into this one,
coming
into this one tonight, the last 7 games, he's averaging nearly 15 points. He was 12 for 24 from threes coming in, and right now he's 14 for 28, still shooting 50+ from behind the three-point line. And, man, those guys that take care of the ball for you or treat the ball like it's gold, he does.
And he's got one more year. A couple seasons ago, Louisville, the self-imposed ban. Last year got bounced in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Snyder comes back. A player like Donovan Mitchell does not. We all know what happened in September, just a month before the season, when the FBI investigation became public. You were talking about this. Start of the season, or perhaps maybe a few weeks before the season, what were your thoughts on this Louisville team and how far they could advance?
I really believe this is a Final Four basketball team. I really did. I thought this team had all the ingredients: length, size, defensive ability, and of course at the time they had a Hall of Fame coach coaching them. Now David Padgett's doing a terrific job, and we're talking about a rookie coach taking over for a guy. And you know, the other thing, you got to be yourself when you're coaching, Kevin. It's just completely different personalities between David Padgett and Rick Pitino.
Watch this guy soar. Can't convert.
Yeah.
Not just a Hall of Fame head coach, but remember at the time, Louisville thought it had a 5-star recruit, Brian Bowen.
Absolutely. Another kid that would have been a difference maker.
King driving that long reach at the rim. This 10-0 run has pushed Louisville's lead to 23.
And that's the largest lead of the game we have thus far.
David Padgett, an assistant the last 3 years under Rick Pitino. He, of course, played at Louisville from 2005 to 2008. And look what he's following. Denny Crum and Rick Pitino before him.
How about Hickman, who was 16-3? 19 games for the whole year.
Yeah.
It's like a month in college basketball now.
19 games won't even be a conference season in a number of years. There's a contact. Stevens driving. It's the 4th foul on Dwayne Sutton.
I'll tell you, the one thing you love about Sutton is he'll defend as well, and he can play multiple positions. I tell you, I like his size. 6'5", 200 pounds. Energy guy, rebounds for his size. There's times when Dwayne Sutton, who just went to the bench, he'll play the 4 or 5 for this team.
Well, there's so much depth. He can afford to pick up 3 fouls, 4 fouls, kind of exert that aggression, rebound the ball well. It's a deep enough bench.
And that's a wonderful back screen, which created the layup. And David Padgett will be able, when he watches film, to have a teaching point there. When you're guarding the screener who sets a back screen, you have ultimate basket responsibility.
Mahmoud is at the line.
Yeah, I mean, it was a left-handed jump hook, but I think the other reason he missed it, it was a little out of his range.
And he's a great shot blocker, but just 50% from the stripe this year.
And it looks, I mean, when you watch, he's got a great stroke.
Freshman season 4 years ago. Mahmoud not really in the rotation. He's worked his way into a position to play at the next level a year from now. One of the best shot blockers in the country, 4 per game. It's due to the length and the size. He'll get you about 8 or 9 points a game also.
And I tell you, Kevin, and the win at the Peterson Athletic Center last year was almost a coming out party for him. It was 7 for 7 from the field. Obviously made everything he took. Good double team by Pittsburgh.
That's VJ King. Another whistle, and he's back at the stripe. Saturday on ESPN. It's conference season. Great ACC matchups every weekend. You see UNC and Virginia, a top 15 battle, and then Duke and NC State on Tobacco Road in Raleigh. That game's at 8 p.m., both streaming live on the ESPN app.
Carolina wants 1,000 possessions in that game. Virginia wants 50. Tempo decide that one. They split, both teams winning, Carolina and Virginia at their respective home courts last year. I'll tell you, you watch Virginia practice, and I've been up there numerous times. It's simplicity and execution. They run pack line on defense, blocker mover, the offense Tony's dad put together on the offensive end of the floor, and it's like, hey, this is what we do, and we do it really well.
Tony Bennett won at Washington State. In Washington State, perennial 20-win program when he was out there, comes to Virginia, just picked up his 200th win as a Wahoo.
I mean, it's amazing the job he's done and the quality of coach that he is. And obviously having his dad, who was a terrific mentor. I'll tell you, I won a lot of basketball games because of Dick Bennett. We ran pack line defense, and he helped me put that in. And obviously Tony running the same thing at UVA. But I'll tell you, I was up at practice this year, and his dad, Dick, was at practice and addressed the team. And whoa, what words of wisdom come from that guy. To see the Pittsburgh team really labors to score because of their youth and because they really don't have a guy that could create with a short clock for them.
Remember, the entire starting lineup from a year ago, gone. 10 players left, 5 transfers, and this is a massive overhaul with today an all-freshman starting lineup. And Louisville, boy, they were pushed a few minutes in the first half, but it's been comfortable. Smooth sailing since. The 18-point advantage.
I think what I'm impressed with Louisville is how hard they've continued to play. On defense, they've extended their defense with pressure, and good performance from the Louisville Cardinals because of their defense.
Tonight on ESPN, Linda Cohn and Kenny Mayne, that dynamic duo has you covered. The 11 p.m. Eastern Sports Center. Breaking down Isaiah Thomas's long-awaited debut for the Cavs and how he impacts Cleveland's offense. The Kyrie and LeBron meeting as well. Taking a look at the NFL playoff picture. That's 11 p.m. tonight on ESPN.
I was a little anxious. I tweeted out like 3 days ago that Isaiah Thomas is coming back tonight. But you know what? He'll be back, and he'll be great.
Louisville all over Pittsburgh. 7:48 left to the second half. Interim head coach David Padgett. Remember, when Louisville and Pittsburgh were in the Big East, boy, did they have some good games in the Big East tournament. About a decade ago, Padgett was a captain of the 2008 team. Now, I made the mistake of bringing that up. Padgett said, we always had Pittsburgh in the regular season, but shoot, 3 straight years they knocked us out of the Big East tournament and route to 3 straight championship game appearances. He then yelled at me, but...
Well, I'll tell you what, Jamie Dixon had some rough dudes back then.
Oh, yeah.
In the Steel City.
Look, it's a really young Pittsburgh team. They're 8-6. We've highlighted it. They're going to struggle this year, but yeah, you go back a decade ago, the DeJuan Blairs, Levance Fields, Sam Youngs, they would push you around.
They had some tough cats, man.
Now, it's also worth pointing out, I had to revert course pretty quick. David Padgett has not lost to Pittsburgh as an assistant coach, and now potentially a head coach. I'm sure he would have taken those wins as a player, though, if he could have one or two.
You know what? I really like this core of guys that Pitt has right now, these young freshmen. But as we know, Kevin's going to have to find a back-to-basket inside player. You know, Terrell Brown is going to be terrific, just a freshman. And then, you know, the new rebuild now in college basketball is finding a couple transfers here and there that you can throw in there and they can impact your program.
Ryan Luther, there he is, who was one of the 2 seniors that come back that were part of last year's rotation. This is now 5 straight games, Dino, where he has been out because of that stress fracture, right foot.
Kevin, a guy that's averaging a double-double. They miss him immensely. He can score on the inside, he can pick and pop, and he is a terrific rebounder, which this team is lacking right now.
December 9th was the last time he played, and I think many are thinking soon. He could be back soon. That's one of those injuries where it may take a month. Pittsburgh now in its second ACC game. It may take longer, to be quite honest.
Yeah, you never know with those kind of situations and those kind of injuries. Ryan's brother, of course, is a good player at Elon, playing for Matt Matheny. Twin brother, actually, Colin.
McMahon leaves it. Oh, that one off the front rim. Williams has got that long reach. The freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Boy, McMahon, really a smart kid. That's a terrific steal, terrific pass. Williams got to finish that one right there for his buddy.
Smart in more ways than one. He's a finance major. Said he was learning from former Cardinal Luke Hancock, who's a financial advisor in Louisville. He's doing some work with him over the summer.
There you go. There you go. All those Louisville fans giving their money to Hancock.
Panthers foul number 42, Lisa, second personal, teams the number ones. 2 shots.
Boy, Louisville today so efficient, 50% shooting from the field.
Kevin, this guy right here is just so long. Spalding, he's like a deflection machine. 7'6" wingspan, gets his hands on everything. His dad, of course, Manuel Forrest, played for Louisville in the early 80s, played for Denny Crum. But man, Ray Spalding, I love his game, I love his length, I love his size.
Just impacting a game in so many different ways. He's top 10 in the league in steals per game, blocks per game, rebounds per game. He doesn't have to score the basketball.
No, he impacts the game in so many different ways, outside of scoring.
There he is. Couple free throws coming for Spalding. Louisville 10-3, it's ACC opener. Coming back after the loss to Kentucky at Rupp.
Yeah, good foul right there.
Number 22, Daniel after the line of the Cardinals, replacing number 5, Malik Williams.
According to Joe Lunardi, one of the 9 teams in the NCAA tournament field. That's 2.5 months away. We're talking bracketology now.
Hey, listen, I don't know what they pay that committee or how much all of the expenses are, the meals, the hotels, the travel. I mean, Joe nails it every year. I think he was perfect last year. 2 years ago, I think he missed 1 team. And Joe said he'd do it for a bottle of wine and a good Italian meal, and that's all they got to do to pay him. And we can save ourselves a couple $1 million with this selection stuff.
He's got to figure it out.
He's already got the bracket bunker. He's got his workspace. And one of those 9 teams, you can call it a surprise if you want, although you were all over it preseason. Clemson, 13th, according to the media, in the preseason ACC poll. Right now, they're a top 25 team. They're looking good.
And having covered them, as we mentioned, that just Shelton Mitchell and Reed and Gabe DeVoe, their guards are difference makers for this version of Clemson basketball than what they've ever had in the past since Brad Brownell has been there.
You already highlighted Ray Spalding as that impact player. He does so many things well on the floor. Around the ACC, who else is in that category for you?
Well, there's a lot of really good players in this league, but I'll tell you what, the freshman Marvin Bagley is just sensational.
Yeah, McMahon.
To think what Bagley's doing, leading the league in scoring, Kevin, rebounding, most in double-doubles. I mean, and the kid should be a high school senior, but he's been sensational. Boy, really sad news on Bonzie Colson, out 8 weeks with the left foot fracture incurred in practice, but was one of the impact players in this league. And Tyus Battle playing really well for Syracuse. Luke May, who made the second biggest shot in Carolina history. Jordan had that one at 82, and he had the one against in the tournament last year to get them into the Final Four. And Grayson Allen, don't sleep on that cat, man. He's playing great right now. Yeah, Luke May makes that shot against Kentucky, right? And who? Second biggest shot in the history of the school.
Sends UNC to the Final Four. Back to the title game. They take down Gonzaga this time around. You bring up Colson. This week for Notre Dame, NC State, and Syracuse over the weekend. So the athletic department says 8 weeks. All right, what's that timeline? That puts you at February 27th. Is it before then? Is he back in time for the conference tournament?
You're hoping, and what we used to like to do is let's put the worst case scenario on there. So put 8 weeks on there, so you're not worried about, hey, you say 6 weeks, is he coming back? Where is he? But I worked with him this summer at the Under Armour camp in Philadelphia. Terrific young guy and an outstanding player. Long wingspan. Shooting threes better this year. Hopefully he's able to come back a little quicker. And then, 10 days, 2 weeks, knock some of the rust off. So when they make a tournament run, he's back and available.
Snyder, it's been his day. Offensive rebound to Jordan Nwora. Louisville led by 18 at the break, up by 25. It was close in the first few minutes of the first half. Right out of the gates to start the second. Pitt went on a little run, had a chance to work it back to 9. Louisville just too much. Went on a very quick 10-0 run.
I think it goes without saying, this will be a difficult year in the ACC for a young Pittsburgh basketball team. A tough league to be young in.
7 freshmen started, 5 today. Louisville, they got beat pretty badly last time out against Kentucky. What a comeback, 3:51 away from a win.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile.
Louisville 3 minutes 51 seconds away from starting ACC play, 1-0 inside the KFC Yum Center, just over the Rogers Clark Memorial Bridge. Gets you across the Ohio River. I know what you're thinking about right now. Right down the road from KFC Yum Center, in Pellizzeri's Pizza. Nice spot for a pregame slice.
Yeah.
I think your friend Bobby Valvano may be over there.
My paisan Bobby Valvano gave us a lead on that one right there. That's the radio for the Cardinals.
About Snyder today.
Boy, he's been good, hasn't he, Kevin?
So cool, calm. Coaches love his steady and even-keeled style on the floor. He's just tied his season high with 19 points. 7 of 13 from the field.
There's our guy, Bobby Valvano, in the white shirt. Our colleague here at ESPN as well.
This is one of those fun broadcasts for you. You get a lot to talk about from the Louisville side.
Well, you know what, Kev, when I do the games, like I immediately reach out to the radio guys because nobody knows these teams better than those guys. They're around them 24/7. They travel with them. They're on the buses. They're on the airplanes, and Bobby always has great insights, as do all of the radio guys.
You've seen Louisville a few times this year. I thought you were going to bring your second baseman's mitt as well. You know, it's right down the road from the KFC Yum Center, Louisville Slugger Field.
Yeah.
Wherever you go up and down Main Street, you can't get away from Louisville Slugger. It's all over the place.
I could glove. I wasn't a good stick man. I wasn't a great hitter. I was a good second baseman.
What high school in Ohio was it?
Well, the sad thing is it's not even there anymore, but Buckeye South High School consolidated like 52 times. But same hometown, my guy, Billy Mazeroski. Game-winning hit, home run against the Yankees in the 1960 World Series. If he'd have hit that home run like in this era, he'd be on every commercial they ever had to end the World Series with a home run like he did.
He was just about 6 decades before his time. By the way, Ohio man standing at the line right now, Parker Stewart. He played his high school ball in Tennessee, but grew up in the Akron area.
And you know what? We're talking about Parker Stewart. That's just terrific recruiting. Kevin Sutton was recruiting Parker Stewart when he was at Georgetown. Kevin was an assistant at Georgetown. Parker Stewart commits to Ole Miss. Then he decommitted from Ole Miss. And you know what? When he went to Ole Miss originally, Kevin Sutton goes, "Hey, I'm disappointed, but congratulations. Wish you nothing but the best." And then all of a sudden, when the kid decides to reopen his recruiting again, he says, "Hey, that guy treated me the right way. When I decided to go somewhere else, he said all the right things." And that's how Kevin Sutton in Pittsburgh was able to get him on the bounce back from Ole Miss.
So Pittsburgh about to fall to 0-2 to start league play. Going on the road to Blacksburg Saturday. You see Duke there twice. Wow. That is not they are going to play Duke twice in 10 days.
And you know what else, Kevin? Virginia Tech, as we know, can really score the ball. Duke, an offensive juggernaut. And against a team like Pittsburgh that labors to score, tough games for the young Panthers.
You have to bookmark this one today. Pittsburgh started 5 freshmen for the first time in program history.
I'll tell you what, like I said, there are no easy outs in this league, but we're looking at Louisville now. At Clemson, who's playing great. I am so impressed with Florida State. Great size, shot blocking as well. You know what, hands down, I don't care what you say. I don't care what measuring stick you use, whether it's historic, contemporary. The best conference in America is the ACC. Year in and year out, and I think it is again this year.
Rebound to Wara. Top to bottom. It's a battle every night.
It really is. As a coach, you can't look at the schedule like we just did there and go, "Oh boy, oh shoot." Look who we got next. You just got to go one day at a time. I'm telling you, or you'll lose your mind.
You're not penciling the wins and losses.
Yeah,
Pardon, you're not writing it in pen. You are writing that in pencil.
Yeah, you start looking ahead too far, you lose your mind. Some guys would go, Coach, how you doing? I go, one day at a time. I go, one day at a time. I'm inhaling and exhaling. That's how small I got to reduce to.
David Padgett is 32 years old. The interim head coach, Trent Johnson, to his left. And the rest of that coaching staff that was filled out, Greg Paulus played at Duke, R.J. Evans. So there you go. There's Greg Paulus. You know him as the Duke All-American. I don't know about you. He's the man who single-handedly jump-started Doug Marone's head coaching career. He was Doug Marone's first quarterback at Syracuse. Now Marone's got the Jacksonville Jaguars in the playoffs.
There you go. There you go. I was kidding with I was kidding Greg Paulus when we saw him last time. I go, Greg, I'm within 5 feet of you. Start falling over and take a charge. Because that's what he would do at Duke.
Tonight, what stands out to you about Louisville's domination? Wow, Williams putting an exclamation point on this. What stood out?
Their defense and how they scored the basketball inside. Got back to who they were and their identity, which is defensive basketball for the Louisville Cardinals.
Cardinals shoot 50% from the field and force 15 turnovers. David Padgett is now 1-0 in ACC play. For Dino Gaudio, our entire great crew, I'm Kevin Fitzgerald saying good night from Louisville. Thanks for joining us.